Okay guys, I'm going to answer a question for a mate. Salute to you, kid. Good to speak to you. Sent me an email, a little bit confused about double strength and what that means. Well, it's easier to kind of show you. So if I flick this over, if you look at my strength sheet, now I work this out myself. It's not something I share because it's my own personal interpretation. But it's normally there or thereabouts, okay? The change of strength is exactly what it says it is. It's just looking at what happened on the last data sample and then gauging the change. So I can see whether something's gaining or losing. But I could do that anyway, just with a pen and paper. You know, if you know what the strength was yesterday, if one website says it's 10 yesterday and it's 12 today, well then it's moved up by 2. So you can keep a track of it dead easy. This bit is color graded in the sense that the bright green is strongest, red is the weakest. But why would it go into here? It needs to have a double against it. So if we look at the Swissy for argument's sake, for when I last did this, and it was a while ago, so I'll be redoing this tomorrow. It's at a score of 16. So to pair it with something, that would need a score 2 times greater. So 32 onwards, so it'll be 33 onwards. So really, any of this lot could be paired against it. But you want the one that's furthest away, which is that, 47. So it is massively gulfed. Because if you looked at, say, these two, they're both at 35, they would sit like that. And one's pushing the other at exactly the same strength. It won't go anywhere. So you need something that's far apart. Now, if it's getting stronger, it'll keep on going. Okay? But if there's some weakness coming in, it'll slam together. So it's not showing you movement, direction, it's showing you movement. So that'll move, but they won't. That will probably sit static. Now, if you can't work it out yourself, you can use a website like Finis, which is this. And you look at this oscillating point here. So if you've got 2 currencies that are sitting close together, like them two, that ain't going anywhere. You know, these two pretty much not going anywhere. Up here, not really. It's okay, but it's not great because they're sitting on top of each other. What you want to look at is you'll go, right, okay, well, if that's a block and a half, which it is, you need something that is further than a block and a half as a minimum. Well, it would be there. So you could pair them two together. But they're still pretty close together. So you want the furthest apart. Well, the furthest apart is, there's JPY, there's the pound. That's the pair to look at. Look how much greater that is. Now, to put this into sort of something that you can think about. Imagine a tug of war. And you've got a relatively strong but not heavy guy. Bruce Lee. We know he's strong, but he's not particularly heavy, you know, because he's quite a slight frame, but he can give a bit of tug. And then you could have, say, a big guy, you know, like a big sumo wrestler. They're going to have some strength, but they've got some weight in them as well. Now, in the initial stages, they're going to be tugging away. That sumo's probably going to pull Bruce Lee into the middle. Why? Because he's got the weight advantage and he's got strength. So he's pulling like this and he'll pull the other little bugger in, right? But Bruce Lee has endurance. Why? Because he's not overloaded. It's like a coiled spring, you know, and he's strong. But he's getting pulled into the middle, right? Brilliant. So that's one scenario where there's still strength in the big guy. In this case, the pound. I'm going to pull you. But what if the strength runs out? Because the thing when you're a big guy and you've got a lot of energy going on, you get tired and you might have strength, but it'll diminish. The other one has endurance and he's smaller. He can now start pulling and the sumo will fall over and it'll fall into the middle. So really, just because something is weak doesn't mean to say they haven't got a bit of tugging force. Now, another way that I put it is about being attractive. if something is incredibly expensive, it'll also be shown as strong. All right. And when it's strong, people start thinking, I don't know if I can afford that now. So it'll get sold off and it'll roll over. Likewise, if something's at the bottom of the scale and it's perceived as weak, it's also very cheap and it becomes attractive and people want to buy it. So flips this saucer. So in a strange way, what I'm trying to explain is if something is far apart, that is a good thing. You don't know which direction it's going to go because you don't know if the strongest one's running out of steam and the smaller one's going to pull it over, or whether it still has a bit of sort of petrol in the tank that it's going to keep on going for a little while and it's going to drag the other one away. You know, that's kind of just the way that it works. Or the supermarket analogy where, well, I think it's too expensive, I'm not going to buy it, or I still think it's good value, I'm going to buy it. All right. But as long as they're far apart, there's going to be some form of movement because there's going to be corrections involved, profit taking, actually piling in, you name it, they're going to move. Then you analyze your chart as to see which direction it's going to move in. Now, if they're sitting on top of each other and they're of equal strength, who's going to buckle? Nobody. They're just going to keep on going and they're going to do that and they're going to move very small. And then you get caught into a bad trade because you have got zero idea when the movement's coming and you've got even less idea which way it's going to go because it's equal. At least when they're far apart, you can read it. Hope that makes sense. Catch you soon.